like red letters over trap beats. The Fixx is saying, ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh.
Welcome back. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into the Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. Listen, it's time for our spiritual detox, and we got family on today. Let's be very clear. Been building with my brother for about a year now, and I'm excited because we talk about, like, artists being different in this space. So this artist we have right here, listen, first of all, he's a pastor, he's an entrepreneur, he's a go-getter, but let's talk about his art. He does not stay stuck in a box. We talk about it all the time within our genre, staying stuck in a box. So yeah, is he a bar spitter? Is he a praise and worship leader? He might even give you some Afro beats or some little reggae too as well. That's faith infused for all the couples out there to make sure that spice is still happening in that marriage too as well. So we ain't gonna keep him in no box. He's a super talented artist, musician, like I say, pastor, entrepreneur, the one and only Jelani. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what up? Jelani Aswad here. It's a blessing to be here, Focus. Listen, I'm humbled. We here at Siriusxm Radio Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It really don't get no better than this to close out 223. So I'm excited about it, man. Yeah,
you should be. And the thing about it is, you're absolutely right. We are blessed to be right here in the music museum history.
Crazy.
And yeah, to God be the glory. We right here in Cleveland, Ohio. We can say that. So come on, man. Talk about. I'm serious when I say. Where do you think we are? Let's start it off since we talking about music first. Yeah. Where do you think we are when you talk about the culture, the state of gospel and Christian hip hop music? Where do you think we are?
Man, I lean toward having a prophetic utterance in terms of, so I don't always say something that's fun or that's widely accepted, but at the same time, what I will say first off is that the gospel is in the greatest place ever because it would never be taken off of its mantle, that the gospel changes lives when it goes forth. It always returns back something that it wants to achieve. When Jesus speaks through music, through people, through the word of God, through preaching, it always accomplishes what it needs to accomplish. And the fact that younger people in my age group, older, are continuing to do that in music and do that in a high quality way, in a way that is really able to be received by the church and the unchurched. I'm excited about that. And I'm excited in the time in which I'm being heard as a musician because I feel like it isn't all in one box and people are able to receive me and hear me on different platforms and different angles. So I'm excited for that. I do think that sometimes artists, I'm a New York City Nas inspired. I grew up listening to Jay-Z. I grew up listening to all those. So sometimes I long to hear those bar lords and those people that really got the intricate lyrical masterfulness that hip hop requires, whether it's fun hip hop music, whether it's introspective, whatever it may be. So I love to hear more of that in Christian music, but that's for sure. We in a good place, in a good space, and I think the genres continue to grow, especially with that USA Today that we recently just had, where they talked about Miles Minnick and Hovey and all those dope dudes. So I'm excited where we are and for what's ahead for sure.
What do you think we need to prove at when you talk about, because you brought up some very key points when you talk about sonically, how does our music line up with mainstream artists, some of the best that ever do it? What do you think we need to prove?
First, I'm going to go non-music and how it affects the music. First, there's a lot of younger rappers and artists, and in general, younger people that don't respect the generation before them. And it's not always because it's their fault. Sometimes the generation ahead of us were wounded by the church because doing rap and doing hip hop music wasn't accepted in the church the way it is now. A lot of pastors like myself are younger, so we want to see that in our communities, in our churches. So it's brought in more. But I really believe in a Titus 2 ministry and the Paul and Titus and Timothy kind of relationship, where we have to be rubbing shoulders with the generation ahead of us and the generation below us. If you're not equipping the next generation, I don't care how old you are, then what are we really doing to see the gospel multiply? So I think that's the number one thing. We need to see more collabs between, the bigger artists, like the ones that are staples in our communities, the Lecrae's, the Bizzles, and the younger artists need to say yo, come on my record, jump on this record. We hot. Let's do something together. Let's build more of a forceful community that can really work together and make and then cross genre wise. Like Lecrae just did that record with Tasha Cobbs, but the interesting thing about it, I was like, while I was hearing it, I'm like, wow, I guess this doesn't happen that often.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't. And they got nominated for maybe, I think, a Grammy Award. And it kind of came out of nowhere off of Church Close 4. I'm like, this guy really is continuing to break barriers where I expected that those barriers should have been broken a long time ago. So hopefully we continue in that trend to say like, yo, let's get more. Even some of the CCM artists, I lead CCM every Sunday in my church.
Correct.
Like, let's really start continuing to collaborate more. And I think from there, in a diverse environment, we'll be forced to think outside the box. Because when you're sitting with your peoples in the studio and you listen to the same kind of beats to you, the same kind of records and the same kind of, you think it sounds amazing, but there's so much more in you that can happen when you bring other people in the space with you.
No, I agree. And I'm glad you brought up that the CCM infused music, because I think KB does a great job of that. I know he's done stuff with Brandon Lake and Jordan Sparks. Social Club has done stuff with Jordan Sparks. And even when you talk about the gospel artists, absolutely, you brought up Lecrae working with Tasha Cobbs Leonard, but also Jonathan McReynolds has worked with Bizzle, 1K Few. So yes, I know Mally Music has done some things too as well. So yes, we love that too as well. So come on, talk about your creative process. What does it look like for you when you go in the lab to make a song? Because you do it all. Like, you do it all.
Yeah, well, it's taken a lot of years of prayer and being around the right people that are encouraging to help me understand that I don't have to be one thing. That when I'm a pastor and I'm loving on the people that God has called me to serve in my local church community, that, you know, in order to write songs for the church, I should be writing songs with the church. So we started songwriting teams at our church, and we write, you know, CCM music, and sometimes it's alternative rock, and sometimes it comes out as different kinds of vibes. And then I write, you know, nationally with my denomination. We released a big record about a year and a half ago, and to be able to say, okay, when I'm with the church and I'm doing something for Sunday morning, there's the kind of people that come on a Sunday morning that they need to be encouraged and they need to worship in this kind of way. But then I'm from the Bronx, I'm from Spring Valley, New York, I'm Jamaican. So like, I can't get rid of who I am as a person, but I don't need to put the pressure on the church on a Sunday morning to be that for me. So I need to make that effort outside of the church to make a community of artists that, and speak to a group of people that may never walk into the church, may be wounded from the church or by the church, or may also feel like myself in the past, like they didn't have a place. So what's the kind of music for me? How's the gospel going to penetrate this community? And so my process is, when I'm with people, I'm 100% present, depending on the type of artist it is. I'm a beats, melody first kind of person. So if I hear a record, immediately I know my skill is more melodic, and I go melodic, and then I fill in lyrically afterward. But I love collabing. I love working with different engineers. I record out here. Shout out to the studio I go. Shout out to Tubi and Breakthrough Sounds, dope studio here in Valley View. And they really just accepted me, and they got a great artist community there of Christian, non-Christian artists that really just want to grow. And my goal is to just be the best artist I can possibly be, best lyricist, best songwriter I could be, wherever I'm at, whatever the genre may be at the time. So whatever comes out, depending on what the vibe is.
Talk about this new set track you got out right now. I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but speak to the inspiration behind it, and why make this track now? Because I feel like this track is different.
Yeah, man. All along. So back in 2020, I was one of those people that was excited, you know, that the pandemic was cooling down and things was opening up, and you know, Thanksgiving was coming, getting ready to see my mom. And, you know, earlier in that year, her cancer sort of took a turn for the worse. And when it took that turn, I kind of felt like God was saying, hey, this is, we coming towards the end. And so I started the process of really just thinking through songwriting, through journaling, like what am I feeling? Like what's really on my mind and my heart? And honestly, when she passed the day before Thanksgiving, 2020, really started a upward trajectory of me just being completely honest with myself of who I am as an artist, as a minister. And that really got me back in the lab in terms of hip hop. And I began to just catalog, this is what I felt. This is what I felt back in 2000 whatever, when I had this encounter with that person, and let me start telling my story a little bit more. So just as a process of grieving her and grieving well, I began to write, and the song All Along came along, and it's one of my most personal songs that I ever released, and it really talks about the history of my mom, her coming from Jamaica, my siblings. I got 2 siblings out in LA. Shout out to them. Shout out to Words Matter Podcast, 139,000 subscribers for my brother. Shout out to him, Akil Octagod. So I'm excited that people get to hear now a side of me that they never heard. And I'm excited that this record is impacting people during the holidays in a way that I never expected it would, but knew that I had to release it around the same time that my mom passed away, because I know so many people are going through that person. When you look at that table, they're not sitting there no more. And how do we deal with that? Because we got to face it.
Have you went through any therapy or any counsel for the grieving process? I know for me personally, I'll be honest with you, it was tough for me. I lost actually both of my parents within a 3-year period. Lost my dad first, and then about a year and a half almost later lost my mom. And I know for me it was horribly tough. And in the process of that, forgive me, lost my dad. My father-in-law passed first, then my mom passed. So you figure within my household, within 3 years, we lost 3 parents that were very crucial to us.
I feel like orphans, bro.
Yeah, very crucial to us. My father-in-law was a pillar for my wife. That was her heart. And not to say, shouts out to my mom-in-law. If you're watching, I'm not saying my mom-in-law either, but she was very close with her dad. So that was wow. In the process of me losing my dad and she lose her dad, I don't know if I even really processed or grieved totally. I couldn't, because I still had to comfort her.
Right.
You know, because of course we the men, we still, they need us to be strong at pockets. Like they don't need for us to be bleeding down on them. So what was your process within your household specifically? I'm talking about with your wife. Was that a process for you?
Yeah, with my wife, lovely wife of 12 years, Naija. Man, it was crazy because my wife knew my mother better than I did.
Wow.
Because, you know, I'm a man and she's my son. I had a real strict, strong, Black, Caribbean mother who came to this country with nothing and really built herself up and really tried to make the best future possible for us. So it was tough at times, you know, and she always wanted us to improve and be better and, you know, be solid individuals in this world. And my wife really, you know, took to that matriarchy and really came under my mom's leadership and was mentored by my mother. And they used to speak every single week. And my mom would call me looking for my wife. I'd be like, "Hey, mom, how you doing?" She's like, "Oh, everything good. Where's Naija?" You know, and it's like, but that made me smile. Because I know my wife gleans so much from her and from her story and from her corporate background. My wife is in corporate America kind of world. They shared that in common. And so it was hard seeing my mom lose a mentor, seeing my wife lose a mentor. And then seeing my sister lose a mother and my younger brother lose a mother. So immediately what I did, top of the year, I went to this like Making Peace retreat, which was like this, you know, this weekend where you go through this, you making peace with your, like, and beyond. You go deep into your past. You seek healing through Holy Spirit, through a great community. And then for 16 weeks or so or something like that, you do this follow-ups every week. So I did that. I did grief counseling. I, you know, took some of my family through grief counseling. We all did that. But truthfully, it took me a year to realize how much more I needed. So I'm the type to just jump into it head on. But even that's not wise all the time. Sometimes you got to chill to wait to figure out what you really need through this counseling journey. So all that to say, like, I'm looking for counselors now. I'm in a journey back on the market. Like, there's another layer.
Yes,
there's another layer. And then things have manifested in me, things that I don't like, that have proven to me, yo, you need to, there's more that I want to do in you that God is saying. And I'm fine with that. So it's an ongoing journey. I think it ebbs and flows. I think grief, like one of my coworkers at the church said, it's kind of like a winding road. That's like a tree that just branches off more and more into different angles and branches you never really experience. And you got to explore those things. Otherwise, we implode. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Come on, talk about this merch line, man.
Yeah.
Talk about the inspiration behind starting it and catch people up on what you got going on now.
Yeah, the brand started off really as like merch. Like I was releasing my first album, which is a worship record in 2018, the Revival Project. Thanks to Jeffrey Golden and some great artists that helped me put
Shouts
that
out
project
to Jeffrey.
together.
Yeah, that's our brother.
He over at Potter's House and TD Jakes. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to him and his beautiful wife and his kids. All that to say, started off and I made my first T-shirt. I was looking at it today. Like the shirt said, "Start a revival in your city," and that shirt didn't go nowhere. Nobody bought that. But failure is necessary to learn what you don't need to do anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I began to explore that. And then me and my wife, her being a fashion designer, a seamstress, and in the world of fashion, she began to educate me on sustainability in fashion and fast fashion and what a good factory is versus some of the factories that we lean on to produce our overconsumed fashion in America. And as she educated me, I felt, man, as a believer, I got to have a sustainable brand. But to have organic cotton and to have that high quality garments, it costs a lot of money.
It does.
So the return is not going to be as great as you want it. But over time, if you're righteous in what you're doing, if you're ethical in what you're doing, God will do that. And so in 2020, we started a brand, shut down for about a year to do some research on sustainability. Connected with a great factory out of Portugal to do my organic based stuff. And I work with a company out in LA and also make custom stuff here through my wife and through other artists in the area. And so it's all handmade, hand touched, organic cotton based. And it's called Messianic Supply Co. And really the tag of the brand is conversational starter streetwear depicting art and design that point to the Messiah. And the real inspiration for that is really that 16th, 17th century Baroque period of art. When you think of the Michelangelos and the Da Vinci's, and these people consistently depicted biblical imagery in their artwork, and it was accepted at the highest levels of the art world. Why not now? Why not now? I think we're in a renaissance of art in Cleveland, and so I'm happy to be a part of it. We recently opened up a retail space at City Goods, 1442 West 28th Street. It's a huge opportunity that really just fell on my lap, and God pointed, so many signs to me like, yo, this is it. So we've been there a couple months, been going really well. We do e-commerce, the band's online, messianicsupply.com and at Messianic Supply on Instagram. So things have been going well, and I'm excited because of the community that's building around this. One of the key community things we do is called the Gallery. Mm-hmm. So I do periodical art pop-up events where I bring in up-and-coming streetwear brands in Cleveland. I don't believe in competition. I believe that there's millions of people and there's enough for everybody to eat. So we bring in other streetwear brands that's up-and-coming. Shout out to some of the brands in Cleveland, Relic Clothing Company. All these different brands that's just been amazing. Working with my man Brian Mark Fine Art, working with Scobro and their clothing brand. So I'm excited about what God is doing there. St. Pierre's another dope brand in the city. Pray for Praise, another dope brand in the city. So yeah, that's people I'm working with and trying to do events with to really bring together art, but also redeem art for the kingdom and expose people to high quality of art that they can consume and be a part of as we push forward this movement.
That's super dope. So come on and give these people some of your arts in these bars. Give me one song. Give me 8 bars from one song and break down the message from it.
I said, I'm forever mixing up these genres like a chef. I'm forever humble, but I know that I won't say it. And if I had a gun, I wouldn't spray it, but 2020 put me to the test. Because when they overlooked my work, I wanted to rip off my shirt and show them the S under my chest. Because I ain't even pull a lot of the tricks out of my chest. I know these couple verses put a hater voice to rest.
Break down the meaning of it.
Yeah, man. So that's really just the beginning of one of the flagship records I released coming out of that 2020 season. I think internally, when I look back on it, I think it was really a time where I was underestimating myself. And I'm sort of speaking to myself in a sense that, like, I got so much stuff that God has put in the treasure chest for me to pull out. And I'm afraid to pull it out because I'm afraid that I'll be alienated. And I'm afraid that if I am my full self, it won't be accepted. But that's really a lie from the pit of hell, because God made me who I am, and he made a particular set of people to connect with me. So that really is just the introduction to one of my songs called Chosen, featuring Clifford Gray, my brother.
Shouts out to Cliff Gray.
Shout out to Cliff, man. City of God. 270,000 views on YouTube. This guy's going dummy over there in New York, but I'm excited to be able to show people more and do more of that in this season, and really release some bars that I think is going to be epic and challenge people in a kingdom way.
Appreciate you coming through, man. Tell the people how they can connect with you, follow you on all your social media platforms, and please introduce your latest single.
Yo, what up? This is Jelani. Yo, so good to be with y'all, to be here, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come on, let's go. This is serious. Jelani Aswad on Siriusxm Radio. You can find me on Instagram at Jelani Aswad, JELANIASWAD. You can check me on my website, JelaniAswad.com. Hit me up. I love to send y'all a message, shoot y'all something. The clothing brand is Messianic Supply Co. Listen to this new single. It's called All Along. I hope it sits with you well in this holiday season, and it brings you to a place of peace and meditation as you focus your eyes on Jesus as we close out this year real strong, and as we open up a new year, a great blessing.
Keep it locked. You tune into The Fixx. You know The Fixx is in.
I like red letters over trap beats, the Fixx is in. Ooh, DJ Focus, tell him turn you